Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex, and this is week 3 of my video series and one full week on testosterone. Today is April 2nd, April 21st. I'm sorry, I'm blind apparently. I do have glasses, but apparently I'm worse than that. Today I went to the doctor and gave myself my own first injection. It wasn't my first injection overall, but that was the first time I administered it to myself. Next week, I will either be going to the doctor or I will be doing it myself at home with my mom, who is a nurse, overseeing it. So it's good. I haven't really noticed many changes as you would expect within the first week. The only thing I think I've noticed would be I'm a little more energetic now. So, like, I went walking more. I did some more yard work. So I think I'm just feeling a little more energetic. Like, I have a little more energy. But this week I am gonna do a topic. Ooh, finally. And this week I will be talking about knowing when I knew I was transgender. So I want to basically start this. This week will be finding out how I was transgender, and then next week will probably be coming out, and etc. etc. So kind of like go through my life and stuff. So let's see. We're gonna have to do a lot of background information for this, but that's okay. So when I was very little, about 2 years old, my parents divorced, and my mom raised me basically how like she would raise a typical girl. She wasn't super feminine. She didn't make me wear dresses all the time. It was just basically androgynous. So some days she would have me wear dresses. Some days she would let me wear shorts and a t-shirt, whatever I wanted. My dad dressed me as a boy. He would let me play boy sports. I used to play t-ball mainly with boys. I used to play with boys in the neighborhood, out the rough house. He would teach me how to wrestle, all those things. And so you think that was like great in a great environment. And when I was little, that was awesome because I was really, in the middle, in betweeny weenie. I was super androgynous, but that's all good. But when I was in 5th grade, I ended up moving to a new town, and when I moved, the people there were very different. They weren't as accepting of like people who were more androgynous, and there was a much more clear cut difference between the girls and the boys at this point in time. Whereas with my old school, boys and girls used to mix all the time. So I was kind of the social outcast, and no one really ever wanted to be friends with me. And when they did, they would talk about me behind my back and make fun of me. So that kind of sucked. When I went into middle school, I started going through puberty around 7th grade, and it was absolutely terrible. I hated it. I felt uncomfortable. I felt like something's wrong with me, and I don't know why, because everyone else seems to be normal and, going through it. And I mean, yeah, maybe a pain, but they're going through it fine. And so why aren't I? I was very tomboyish, but there were times in which I would try and be overly feminine to try to be something I wasn't, and try and be like, this is who I am and this is what I need to be, and everyone else is doing it, so why can't I do it? And in the long run, that just ended up making me more upset. So when I was in 8th grade, I started, I identified personally as a lesbian. I dated people. My family wasn't really aware of any of this. And I also that's when I started really watching YouTube videos. There was this one person I followed who did cosplay videos, and he turned out to be trans, and he came out, and I followed his videos, and there were just so many videos and so many things that I was like, I relate to that. Like, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly like, what I am. And I started thinking more like, well, what if I had that choice? What if I had the choice to be a male? Would I choose that? And all the time I would find myself saying yes, like, I wish I would. I wish I had that choice. And so when I went into high school, I was still like super androgynous. I dressed masculine and everything. Um, and let's see. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. um, I started to kind of explore everything because I was into cosplay. So I used to sometimes dress up, and I would mainly only ever dress up as a male. I'd get wigs. I'd get ace bandages. I'd bind. Which I do not recommend. Absolutely do not do it under any circumstances. It's very bad, so don't do it. Even if you're just a cosplayer and you're not transgender. Um, and it just kind of opened my mind up to it. I used to feel so much more comfortable when I was um, being that person and when I was that way. And I kept trying to deny it to myself and say, like, this isn't how I am. Like, I can't be this because I know how much harder that would be to be transgender as opposed to just like a butch lesbian. Because nowadays we're starting to accept like people who are gay and lesbian, but people who are transgender and non-binary aren't really accepted so much um, in this society yet. So I knew it was going to be difficult. And when I was in my summer after my freshman year, I went on a cruise with my dad, and he had changed from his mentality when I was little to pushing girl things on me and only ever letting me wear really girly things. And I would tell him it made me upset, and I'd tell him I didn't want to wear it, but he'd make me wear it anyway, and he'd get very upset with me if I wouldn't. And that whole cruise just kind of set everything in perspective for me. It was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend to be this person. I can't force myself to play this part that I'm not. And so that's kind of when I realized like this is how I am and this is how it is. And other people may not like it, and it may, be hard and it may be difficult, but this is what I am. And everything like clicked and just made sense, and I felt like everything was like I felt better about myself. I felt like I wasn't completely alone because there were other people in the world who were like me, and I didn't think that before. I accepted myself, and so it was a long process for me. And when I was little, I'll like look back on it, and I'm like, there were so many signs, like, but this is how I was. This is how I came out to myself, and that's how I realized I was transgender. Um, So I knew I was different when I was little, but I didn't know it was gender until I was in 7th or 8th grade, and then I didn't know I was transgender specifically until about freshman year. So that kind of puts in a timeline. Um, One thing I do want to add in, it doesn't matter when you know you're trans or when you figure it out. If you figure it out later on down the line, or if you figure it out earlier down the line, that doesn't make you any less trans. Just because you figured it out earlier or figured it out later, that doesn't mean that you're not. I see people saying that all the time, and it's not true at all. So don't think that, and I hope for anyone who is experiencing confusion and trying to figure out who they are, that things like this, videos like this, maybe not me, but other people help you try and find who you are and, make you feel more comfortable about yourself. So that's going to be the end of this video. I'm sorry it was super long. See you